So let me ask you all a question. Do you like science? If your answer is no, then you probably haven't seen the first season of Dr. Stone. And if the answer is yes, well, get ready to watch the second season of Dr. Stone because we're on the third episode, which means it's time for my third episode thoughts of Dr. Stone, Stone Wars. So let's get started. So obviously the first season's out, and it did a really good job of establishing how somebody with an in-depth knowledge of science can revolutionize a stone world and bring an otherwise primitive civilization forward by centuries in just a matter of months. And it also shows how science can level the playing field between a weaker civilization using science and a stronger civilization relying on brute strength. And this is where the main conflict of this season is ideally going to come to a head. Midway through last season, we had the established conflict of Senku and Tsukasa and their differing views. And this is where our current season picks up with the plans on how to wage war and, as they keep saying, a bloodless conflict against the Kingdom of Strength. So, how is that going to pan out? Well, I don't know yet because we're only on 3 episodes, so I'm mainly just going to cover the 3 episodes and whether you should keep watching, but maybe I'll do a theories video at some point. Maybe you should subscribe for that. And maybe you should actually go and check out my Discord and enter for a chance to win merch that you designed. Yes, little middle plug. Why not? Go ahead and check out the Discord in the description. I'm holding a merch contest. You can go ahead and submit your art if you want to, or a logo, or whatever. But anyway, back to the video. So the first episode of this season had some pretty interesting science bits, but of course started out as most second season episodes do, which is to catch the viewer up on what happened last season. And this was done, of course, in some cleverly hidden way, which in this instance was Gen telling children the story of the past and talking about how Senku has revolutionized their civilization. It's cool, but of course it's a recap, and for those longtime subscribers here, well, you know how I feel about recaps. About like that. Just saying. But after that little introduction piece, we have an interesting dilemma, which is that it's wintertime in the stone world. And that means that most people relying on brute force, like the Kingdom of Strength, can't really fight in this environment because no matter how strong you are, well, you can't eat cold food, and you'd have to wait for whatever food you have to cook because you got to kill it, cook it, then eat it. So how does the Kingdom of Science overcome that? Well, of course, you just make cup ramen. It's easy, right? Well, it wouldn't be Dr. Stone without giving us some elaborate process that they then seem to make super easy. In this case, making cup ramen by freeze-drying all of the stuff they've made from the previous season with ramen. And it works out really well. And it shows how you can actually do a full-on freeze-dried cup ramen with generally acquirable equipment. It's a little bit of a stretch, but it also solves the dilemma because now our guys, our crew, can go out and do what they had planned to from the start and not have to worry about food. And that aforementioned plan was the payoff to where we had kind of left off in the first season, which was delivering the second cell phone to Taiju and Yuzuriha in the Kingdom of Strength. This is really cool because building a cell phone was a major plot point for the last season, and seeing it sort of lead into a payoff is really awesome. That payoff doesn't come until episode 2. Now, with episode 2, I'm going to be a little more vague with my descriptions because, well, if you haven't watched it or you haven't even started the season yet, I don't want to spoil anything. But needless to say, there is a very heartwarming payoff with the delivery of the cell phone. But there's a lot more conflict that goes on in that episode than just traveling up and dropping off a cell phone because they've had a spy watching them since the end of the first season, and she wasn't going to let that happen without a fight. But with her not letting this happen without a fight, we get an opportunity to see some of how Senku is planning to wage this bloodless conflict, as well as the plan with some scheming from the first episode, but I'm not going to go into that because, well, spoilers, but we also get a really interesting black light that he made somehow, as well as UV light dust, which was hinted at but not really explained too much in the first season. There are some things that are kind of weird and seem a little like, oh, I just happen to have that, but we had that in the first season too, and it didn't really take away from the story, so I'm going to assume that it's not going to take away from the story too much here either. But I have to say, the payoff for the cell phone delivery was probably one of the more touching moments in this show so far. It was really cool, and we finally got to see some characters who we haven't seen in a while, which is freaking awesome. And, well, that's all I'm going to say about that. Episode 3 did shift gears a little bit. It went from the sort of touching reunion of Taiju, Yuzuriha, and Senku, and moved on to our first convert, apart from Gen, from the Kingdom of Strength. And I'm not really going to say why or how, but I will say that the initial scheming didn't quite work. But hey, it worked in the end, so I guess that's what counts. No, it's interesting because it seems as though the plan, and this is my guess, this is not something that has happened yet, but my guess is that Senku and the Kingdom of Science is going to try to convert as many people from the Kingdom of Strength as possible. However, with a few of the characters introduced and a few of the bodies that we see in episode 2, I don't know if that's really going to be an option, because we did get a bit of a lucky strike with one of the characters who did convert by episode 3, but we still have a very interesting character with incredibly good hearing and extremely skilled marksmanship with an arrow, and, well, people with numbers on their forehead, which will probably prove to be quite a difficult thing to overcome. But who knows? We'll see what happens. It's kind of hard to do a third episode thoughts on a show like this without wanting to spoil anything, because so much happened in the first 3 episodes, and if the pacing keeps up like this, we're going to have a lot of stuff happen within the entire length of the season, and I can't wait for that. And overall, my recommendation, if you watched the first season of Dr. Stone, is that you absolutely should watch this second season. I have a very good feeling about this, and I feel like we're going to have quite a lot of stuff happening and quite a lot of interesting science to learn along the way. And of course, I am really interested to see how this bloodless conflict is going to happen, especially after you're seeing this shot here in the opening. Who knows who that is? I have no clue, and I'm very worried. But either way, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, really, that's it. A lot happened in these first 3 episodes, like I said, and I don't want to really go over too much detail with it, which sucks, because in third episode thoughts, I want to give my thoughts, and my thoughts are that it's good, but there's so much that's happened that you should really watch it instead of having me try to describe it, because it'll be much more impactful when you watch it. So, well, stop watching this video and go do that and enjoy it. And of course, I hope you enjoyed this video as well. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. As I mentioned earlier, down in the description, check out the Discord, submit some merch ideas, and you have a chance to win. There's a video that I put a card up when I talked about it in the middle of the video, but yeah, go watch the rules, join the contest, join the Discord, subscribe, like, comment, the whole 9 yards, and go watch Dr. Stone now. Stop watching me. Go watch it.